for Chris.
오케이. 예.
Because they thought he was in shape.
그럼 여기서 이제 Q를 해주세요.
지금 하시면 돼.
뭐 아니 Q를 해주라고 편집 좀 있어야 되니까. 아니, 그냥 할까요?
박수 한번 딱
따라
치시면
하면
돼요.
Nice to meet you, Dory, John Pastor, and Jim Adams. I will ask a question in Korean. If you do it, Elder Kwon translate for you. First question, in Korean. 대한민국에 특히 이제 대구를 방문하신 소감이 어떻게 되고요? 이번 여행을 얻고 싶은 것들에 대해서 말씀해 주십시오. Answer the John Pastor.
Yes, my first impressions of Korea after just a few days is that there are things that are majestic and tall, of great stature, and so the mountains are an example in this area that we very much enjoyed, and then trees. I love trees that are especially tall and majestic, and then men, Christian Koreans who are men of God and men of great maturity and stature. So those are very wonderful things that I've already noticed and enjoyed here.
한국에 와서 산과 나무와 아주 잘 자라고 웅장한 그런 모습들을 보고 굉장히 감명이 깊었고, 특히 하나님의 사람들, 한국 크리스찬들의 모습들을 보고 굉장히 감명 깊고 뜻깊은 여행이라고 생각합니다. 그 정도 얘기를 했고, 그 다음에 What's the purpose of visiting Korea, especially Daegu area?
We wanted to come and give some photographs from over 100 years ago to your church.
중요한 사진들을 대구를 특히 방문한 목적은 사월교회를 비롯해서 대구 지역에 있는 그 사진들 이런 것들을 좀 주고 역사적인 문헌들을 좀 서로 교류하고 카피를 남기려고 왔다.
And did you want to add to that?
Yeah, and this partly responds to question 4, but personally I wanted to renew ties between the Sowell First Presbyterian Church and the Adams family, and James Edward Adams, whom I'm named after. And he had such a great heart for serving the Koreans and God, and for spreading good news, and even in difficult circumstances, he was very committed to his faith.
에드워드 아담스 선교사가 한국에 아주 다른 환경임에도 불구하고 한국에 와서 많은 기독교인들을 만들게 되고, 또 그런 선교 활동을 통해서 한국 사람들에게 이 종교적인 마인드를 심어주고, 여기서 많은 일들을 같이 하게 된 것을 굉장히 자부심을 갖고, 또 그런 일들을 통해서 장로교에서 특히 그런 좀 타이트한 관계를 앞으로도 계속 맺어가고 싶은 그런 마음에서 왔다.
Second question. What kind of image does the missionary J. Adams remain the memories of descendants? Is there anyone in your family who has been active as a missionary or pastor generation? Answer the dirty. And yes, Jim.
Yes. Well, really, the Koreans have known more about missionary Adams than we have until now. We knew from our grandfather. He wrote up a short description of his life, but we knew from our grandfather, Benjamin Adams, that his father's love for Korea was very great, and our grandfather also really loved Korea, and he loved us, so that was important to us.
I think he was asking about your missionary offspring.
No, now that's part 2.
Oh, okay.
Okay. And then
우선 도로티가 말씀하시는 것은 도로티의 아버지, 그 할아버지 벤저민의 그 아버지가 이제 우리 에드워드 아담스거든요. 그분이 한국을 얼마나 사랑했는지에 대해서 나중에 더 깨닫게 되고 그런 얘기를 전해줘서 굉장히 자부심을 가지고 또 그런 나라가 한국이었기 때문에 와서 보고 싶고 또 거기에다가 가지고 있는 이런 많은 자료들을 전해주고 또 좋은 관계를 맺고 싶어서 왔다.
우리 짐 아담스.
Okay. This is responding to what the Adams has been doing since JEA was here, and as far as being missionaries and Christian and pastors. So my oldest son Christopher Adams served for 3 years as a chaplain in the United States Navy, and he also worked in a church in the Minneapolis area for 6 years as assistant pastor, and another 6 years with a international Christian outreach group called Youth with a Mission, YWAM, and he was in the Middle East and Switzerland and Romania.
be careful.
And
be careful.
so that's what he did. And when they were in the Middle East, they met some Koreans, and the Koreans knew about my great-grandfather. They knew who James Edward Adams
Oh
was.
my goodness.
Yeah.
And Christopher was just elated
Yeah.
to know that there was a connection these generations later. that
어허.
People that were descendants of the people that James Edward evangelized
야.
were out evangelizing in the Middle East.
야.
And some of them were going to the U.S.
와우. 와우.
Wow,
아하.
that's amazing,
So-
Jim.
Yeah.
특히 이 제임스 아담스의 짐이
Or
짐이
Jim.
짐.
예.
짐 아담스의 아들 크리스토퍼도 미 해군에서 6년간 군목으로 봉사를 하고 또 미네폴리스 근교에서도 부목사로도 올해 4년 정도 일을 했는데 중동 지역에 그 미셔너리로 갔다가 중동 지역에 있는 사람들하고 뭐 얘기를 하다가 할아버지에 대해서 얘기하는 걸 보고 깜짝 놀래가지고 굉장히 자부심도 느끼고 중동 지역에서 한국 사람 만났는데 한국의 애덤스 이름을 알고 있더래. 그래서 굉장히 기분이 좋아가지고 와, 그 할아버지의 이 선교 역할이 전 세계적으로 이렇게 복음이 많이 퍼져 있구나 그런 자부심도 굉장히 느끼고 해서 한국에 대해서 더 흥미를 갖게 되고 그런 걸 아버지한테 말씀드리고 또 아버지도 굉장히 자부심이 있고 그 감사한 그런 걸 많이 느꼈다 그런 얘기.
예. 그럼 뭐 announce third?
And John,
John.
our children.
Yeah,
Oh,
okay.
same question. Okay.
크리스.
The same question and answer.
아들.
Yeah. 지금
Yes.
조언도 말하고 싶다.
Well, our oldest son was sent out from our church and started a new church in Kansas City.
캔사시티.
Um,
Your son.
yes, and so he was a pastor, founding pastor of that church.
오.
And it's no longer operating as a church, but that was for several years what he did. And then our oldest daughter, Amy, was a missionary in
to Romania.
for 14 years, I think.
Oh.
With
yeah,
her husband.
with her husband David.
어허.
Yeah.
And 4 children were born there.
아,
And now they're back in Kansas City.
야,
And
큰 아들이
Johnny and Daniel.
그 캔사스에서 교회를 하나 창립을 했는데 거기서 창립 목사로서 그 봉사를 하셨고 수년간 봉사는 지금은 안 하시는데 그리고 큰 딸 에이미가 지금 루마니아에 선교사로 나가신 지 14 years in missionary in Romania. 거기 14년 정도 좀 돼서 만들어 그렇게
이 집안에
봉사하고.
선교사가 몇 분인가요?
선교사가 how many missionaries
How
are
many
there in
We
your
have-
family?
Well, I would also
There's 2
mention
more.
Yeah.
our son Daniel
Saint Daniel.
was a missionary with his wife
응.
in Taiwan
In
타이완?
Taiwan,
오케이.
타이완에 미셔너리를 좀
for a year.
예.
4 years.
For 1 year.
아들 중에 한
아들.
명이 있고
아.
또
아들 하나가 있고 아까 에이미가 또 하나
son is
있고
almost 2 years.
Almost
그다음에
2 years.
제일
Almost
큰
2
아들
years,
하나
yeah.
패스트는 교회 창립을 했고 그렇게
다른 아들은 대만에서
또
사역하고
어디였지?
있고.
저기
그게
또
Johnny.
그래.
예, 그다음에 또
He's
선교사
a
또
pastor
있잖아요.
right
타이완
now
말고.
in our church.
아까 루마니아
아, 루마니아.
루마니아가
예.
에이미 큰딸 그건 봐 얘기해서 14년간 지금 하고 있고.
And then one other of our sons, Johnny,
Johnny.
same name as mine. He is currently, has been for many years, one of the pastors of our church, Cornerstone, in Kansas
아
City.
코너스톤.
Yes.
아하, 야,
So,
야.
and he, to this day, is serving
Wow.
in that way.
또 한 아들은 Johnny.
Johnny.
존이라는 아들은 지금 아니 대만이 아니고 아까 그건 딴 아들이고.
음.
존이는 지금 이 존 목사님이 서빙하고 있는 코너스톤이라는 그 교회가 있어요. 큰 교회가 있는데 거기서 지금 현재 목사로
It's our church in
이렇게
Lamesa.
하고 계신데.
The building.
그리고 4명이 주르륵 와 이거
대만에서 선교하시는
그건
아드님
아들이고.
이름은
We didn't
어떻게
get Mary's
되시나요?
name in
아,
there.
what's the name of the missionary in Taiwan?
Daniel.
Daniel.
데니엘.
데니엘은
And our oldest son
oldest son
is Ari.
Ari.
A-R-I-E.
I.E.
A-R-I-E.
I.E. The
Yeah.
middle name of yours.
Yes. Yep.
그러니까 두 아들은 목회자로,
목회자로.
다른 두 자녀는 또 선교사로.
그 에리라는 목사님은 지금 처음에 그 창립 교회 하나 설립했다가 지금은 이제 안 하시는데 수년간 거기서 교회 설립해가지고 창립하고 계셨다.
자, yeah. Now let me ask the third question. Personally, what part of your life has been most influenced by missionary Adams? Dorothy, John, Jim.
Well, I'll just answer briefly. Since our great-grandfather died about 20 years before we were born,
아하.
it was really our grandfather, his son Benjamin, and our Aunt Dot, after whom I was named, that influenced us.
아하.
And so through his children, we, our grandfather was a pastor in
Yeah.
America
Uh-huh.
his whole life. And our Aunt Dot came back to Korea and served in Pyongyang,
평양?
yes, for 14 years
14 years.
at the foreign school in
foreign
there.
school.
Uh-huh. As with the children.
음.
But then she had to come back in 1940 because
1940?
of the war.
어.
And so we knew them as a great aunt and a grandfather and grandmother who very much loved us and were important in our lives.
아, sure. 할아버지 께서 Benjamin was your grandfather's name.
Yes.
Yeah. Benjamin Adams가 전쟁 이전에 it was 1940.
Oh, no,
he came to Korea.
Our grandfather Benjamin
Benjamin
was here as a missionary from
Missionary.
1923 to
1923.
1928.
1920.
And our father was born here.
아, 야.
So was
1923년도에 한국에 와서 28년까지 미셔너리 선교사로 봉사를 하고 그리고 또 이 아버지가 도티 여사의 아버지가 한국에서 태어나셨대. 그래가지고 그 태어났던 것 때문에 이 가문의 선교사에 대한 자부심 그것들이 굉장히 크다. 그리고 1940년도 1940 built the Foreigners Academy.
No,
It was
our great aunt Dot
Dot.
came from America, having finished her education in 1926,
26.
and she served for 14 years
14 years.
at the foreign school in Pyongyang.
그냥
However, I couldn't practice that.
1926년도에 미국에서 대학 교육을 마쳤던 앤트가 여기 평양에 와서 14년간 그 외국인 학교 같은 게 평양에 있었던
평양
거죠.
외국인 학교.
평양 외국인 학교에서 봉사를 하시고 돌아가셨는데 그분의 미국으로 가셨는데 그분의 이름이 도티였던가 봐. 그래서 이제 her name was Dottie.
I am her namesake.
야, 그러니까 그 여자
Dorothy.
이름이 도티였기 때문에 자기 이름도 지금 도티래. 그렇게 뭐 자부심을 가지고 있대.
그러니까 친척 할머니가
Dorothy.
되시겠네요.
Dorothy. Dottie is the nickname.
아 닉네임. 원래는 도로티인데. 그래 이건 이제 도로티.
Yes.
도로티.
Yes, that's my name.
도로티라 하는데 이제 도티야지. 어서 봐라.
there he
반갑다. Good to see you again.
어제 이미 만났어.
만났다.
원래는 도로시인데 도티를 가진다고.
원래 도로시인데 닉네임이 이제 도티. 그래서
With a
항상 그
Y.
네임.
With a Y.
야, why? 도티, why?
저희 그러면 아버님 한자는
아버님 함자가 그러면 what is your father's name?
Our father's name?
예.
James Frederick Adams.
James Frederick.
Adams.
James Frederick Adams. James Frederick Adams.
He was named after
의자
both his
의자
grandfathers.
끌어다가.
아,
His mother's father and his father's father.
그렇군요.
He was a psychology
의자를
professor
뺏어서.
아, psychology professor.
for his career and also a
Yeah.
college administrator in the U.S.
Yeah.
아니 의자를
Wonderful
저쪽으로
to
빼서.
see holy missionary family in great. So we Korean Christians are
책장에다
always
붙여서
thanks
허리
to
받치고 앉아.
the missionary, the ancestors and the descendants. And I and my wife always talk about the thanks to the missionaries who spread the seed of gospel in this land. And then, how can we prosper afterward that we, as you see, the bigger and growing country in the world after the Korean War, as the America come to Korea and helped us to defend this land and people, then afterwards we prospered too much, too great. 이건 이제 그 지나갔으니까 thanks. He will continue the third or fourth question.
Okay.
Well, I
It
think
was my
I-
personal.
Now,
I'm on the third.
oh yeah,
Oh.
I had one brief comment on the third,
Mm.
and this is to the response about what part of your life has been most influenced by
Mhm.
our great grandfather. And I would just say that would be the importance of sharing the gospel in an education, so that people can read and understand the gospel on their own. And
예,
Yes.
짐은 저 자부심을 느끼는 것이 선교사로서 그 할아버지께서 할아버지 하우스 증조 할아버지죠, 그지?
네.
증조 할아버지께서 여기 오셔서 복음과 교육 사업, 복음과 교육 사업을 해서 여기에 큰 영향력을 끼치는 데서 굉장히 자부심 있고 감동이 깊은. 그래서 학교도 많이 세웠고 승실학교도 생기셨고 우리 계성학교, 신명학교, 계명 유니버시티 뭐 이런 학교를 많이 세우셨기 때문에 그런 데서 굉장히 자부심이 크시다. 그렇게 말씀하셨습니다.
I just want
Thanks.
to add that he is such a great example of heartfelt devotion to God, and how he would go on by himself itinerating around Korea when there were still robbers hanging out in the roads, but he trusted God would protect them, didn't bring a weapon, and went out to evangelize. So
Throwing away the weapon?
no weapons.
No
Well,
weapons.
When he traveled by himself.
Yeah.
아하.
Yeah. When he traveled with his wife, he got a gun
아하하.
to protect her.
You're giving too many details.
무기도 없이 한국에 와서 복음을 가지고 복음을 무기 삼아 한국에 와서 그렇게 많은 그 복지와 정진 한국의 번영을 위해서 일하게 됐던 데 대해서도 굉장히 자부심을 느낀다.
Yeah. Now 그 시간이 없기 때문에 now let me ask the first question. This paper. How did you feel when you heard the news at South Church and carrying out various projects such as book publish and commendation of the missionary Adams?
Right.
Yeah, okay. Is there anything you would like to do in cooperation with several church as a descendant?
I was so surprised that you remembered
Yeah.
our great-grandfather. I was just amazed to find that you had a book in Korean that we did not have in English. And so I was so grateful that he was remembered and honored here in your country. And other family members have grown up here or visited here, but I never expected to get to come to Korea. So to cooperate with your church, we felt that it was more important for you to have these original photos. And I have made copies for our family.
Oh, really?
But
Good.
they belong here with your,
Oh.
because they're about you.
Oh, thank you very much.
But then bringing other documents for you to copy, and then we want to keep connected to your
Yeah,
church.
sure.
Yeah.
한국에 와서 그 할아버지 또 증조 할아버지를 이렇게 많은 사람들이 기억하고 있다는 것이 너무나 감명스럽고 감동스러운데 주변의 다른 친척들은 들어 한국에 오기도 하고 했지만 자기들은 한국이 처음이거든요. 완전 처음이에요. 여기 와서 이런 책들을 보고 얘기하고 할 줄을 상상을 못했는데 너무나 기쁘고 여기는 사진들은 이제 앞으로 여기 사월 교회에다가 줘서 가지게 하고 자기들은 카피도 가져가겠대요. 다른 문서들은 카피는 이제 우리한테 주고 자기들 가져가서 이제 할도 하겠지만 앞으로도 계속해서 이런 서류나 다른 이런 활동들을 가지고 서로 교류할 수 있도록 그렇게 했으면 너무나 좋겠다. 참 좋은 얘기다. 여기 와서 감정이 굉장히 크던가 보다.
사진 원본을 뽑아야
사진을 원전 주겠다고 그러니까.
그러면 우리가 다시 이제 책을 화보집을 만들어서 다시
만들어서.
보내드리겠다. 책으로 완성시켜서 한번.
Then Pastor Choi Tati, listen to me.
I'm looking for some papers.
Yeah.
Oh, here they are. Got them. Okay. Yes.
Pastor Choi proposes that if you, in the case you give these photos to us, we will make some books concerning these photos and edit.
Careful. They're very old.
Yeah, sure. Very old, very fragile thing. So we will make some books concerning these photos and make some histories. And then we will make some books to you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You will progress is at book. Send it to you. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you
Very
so
good.
much.
Okay.
Very good.
Thank you.
Then we will have many works to do, and some pastors and vice helpers, including me. That's our pleasure.
And I may do some editing for you.
Oh, yeah. 그러면 지금 책 편집 같은 거 좀 도와주시겠다.
예, 오케이.
If you
할 때
if you
뭐
have
감수를 받아야
questions
되겠지.
when you're doing your work, please feel free to call myself or
Yeah,
Donnie,
sure.
and I
She
should
proposed
leave
it.
my information.
Yeah.
I'll leave my information, address and phone number.
Because he's a writer also.
Yeah, sure.
He's a reporter.
Good reporter, good journalist.
Yes.
그럼 이제 편집하고 하는 걸 많이 도와주겠다. 이러니까 좋죠.
그러면은 이제 뭐 마지막으로 할까요?
The last question
Yeah.
from Pastor.
Let me ask your last question. Please tell us what you want to say to the Korean and churches and Christian who remember missionaries Adams. Yeah. Dorothy, answer. Yeah.
I have some things from 3 letters that he wrote to his children. One is his love of Korea, one is on the Holy Spirit, and one is about adventure. Do you want to translate that?
Adventure.
The 3 topics are
3 topics.
his love of Korea,
Love of
Holy
Korea.
Spirit,
지금 이제
and the Christian life as a great adventure.
아하.
지금
And
아까
I
이제
will
세 가지.
어제 줬던 거 그거
아니,
말하는
여기
거구나.
세 가지 토픽들이
음.
아까 좀
I have it right here
가르쳤었거든.
to read.
오케이.
Okay? I'll just read it short. Okay, so the love
질문에
of
대한
Korea.
종류는 들었습니까? 받았습니까?
질문 제가 받아서 지금 하는 거예요.
그래
알고
질문
있어.
예.
질문
내가 알고 있죠.
질문에 원 소스는
아,
프라이머리
원소는
소스
그렇구나.
여기.
옳지, 그렇겠지.
오케이.
Right?
나는
Okay.
exploration.
In 1904, missionary Adams wrote to the Presbyterian Mission Board, "It is a great pleasure to get back among my own people again. I realize as I have not before that I am no longer an American. I have grown into this life until I no longer fit at home. My home, my work, my life, my heart, my interests are all here among this people for the bringing in of the kingdom of God."
하하하하.
So that's
어제
야,
식당에서
I just read that.
이거 된 거야.
so that is
아담스
his love of
한국에
Korea.
한국을
And
얼마나
then
사랑했는지에
I can read
대해서
something
설명을
short.
해준 건데 이게 그 letter to Dr. Arthur Brown이라는 사람, 이 사람은 Secretary to Presbyterian Mission Board in America. 미국 그 북장로회에서 선교회에 아마 사무총장쯤 됐던 사람인 것 같아요. 그 사람한테 편지를 쓰면서 다시 한국에 오게 돼서 너무나 기쁘다. 그리고 더 이상 이제 나는 미국인이 아닌 것처럼
Jim, you have
느낀다.
a copy of this, right?
Yeah.
So you can have that, and he
Yeah.
could copy it.
야,
어,
더 이상 이제 나는 고향 땅에 어울리는 사람이 아닌 것 같다. 내 고향은 이제 여기 이 사람들, 나의 마음, 나의 my heart라고 했으니까 나의 마음, 나의 흥미, 이 모든 것들이 다 여기에 있고 이 사람들에게 있고 또 하나님의 왕국을 이 사람들과 함께 건설하는 것이 나의 가장 큰 꿈이고 내 마음이 다 거기에 있다. 그래서 난 더 이상 내가 미국에 있는 것이 그게 나의 즐거움이 아닌 것 같다. Very impressive, really moved,
보통 이제
deeply moved.
선교사가 나가면
And
그
then
선교지를 향한 향수를 하는 것처럼.
대단하다.
어우, 세상에.
예, 눈물이 나죠. Then the second.
The second is on being one with the Holy Spirit. He said he's talking to my Aunt Dot when she was 19.
His daughter.
At that time her
She was
age was
19.
19.
19 years old.
Oh, 19
yes.
years. Dottie.
Yes, and
Yeah.
well, yes, his daughter Dorothy, and he says, "It seemed to me that while you were the good girl you had always been, and a true follower of Christ, at the same time you had not really come into the joy of the Lord, the peace and joy that passes understanding, which is found in personal walk with and personal service to Him. It is the real joy and satisfaction of living, and is the only real source of it. This abides, regardless of and superior to any conditions whatever, a source within oneself of constantly welling joy and contentment. When you find that, dear daughter, you find life, and never until you find it do you find anything really worth calling by that name." There's that. There's. I'll give you one copy, and then
Yes, one copy.
because the others are. Okay.
이 사람들 얘기는 참 너무나
So I read
감동스러운 게.
right up here,
Just
just a little bit right there.
그냥 그 부분만 간단하게 하고
요거
또
뭐
넘어가죠. 세 번째
넘어가야
탑이.
되겠다. 그 따님한테 보낸 그 편지에서 얘기할 때도 여기에 와서 느끼는 것이 하나님의 사랑과 하나님 그 은혜 안에서 이 사람들과 같이 지내면서 특히 너에게 그러한 마음과 그런 열정을 주게 된 걸 너무나 감사하게 생각한다.
Very patient.
Be patient.
He is.
find anyone. 여기서 이제 예수님을 꼭그 by that name으로 해놨는데 예수님을 부르는 것만큼 더 이상 값진 게 없다는 거 그런 걸 느꼈고 에녹이 하나님과 같이 동행했다는 것처럼 이 세상에서 to take precedence with him 하나님과 함께 동행하는 것을 더 이상 거칠 수가 없다는 거 그것이 굉장히 가치 있다 그런 얘기를 딸들에게 편지 쓰면서 그렇게 했는 모양이네.
그럼 이제 또 세 번째 넘어갈까요?
넘어가요.
Funny.
Last bit.
The last thing is the adventure of the Christian life. As I advanced, this is from his personal report to the missionary board from 1917 to 18.
19 to 17, 8.
1917년부터.
He says, as I advance in years, I increasingly realize that for the servant of Christ, this is a life of a sort of joyous adventure.
Joyous adventure.
Yes.
어.
We follow him, but he does not show us the way ahead very far, and we never know just how the immediate thing in hand will work out. It is ours simply to steer a straight course and follow him. The adventure of the unknown and the unknowable ahead is all ours as we put our trust in him and steer a straight course. To the servant of Christ alone it brings the unalloyed interest and satisfaction of a great adventure.
Yeah, really touching, really moving. 이게
So I just read the second.
Yeah, the second.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
이 편지를 쓰면서 얘기를 한 것이 이렇게 복음을 전하는 선교사의 일들이 joyous adventure, 즐거운 모험을 하는 것으로 생각한다. 하나님, 예수님 안에 있는 것이. 그러니까 주의 종, servant of Christ, 그리스도의 종이 된 것은 정말 즐거운 모험이고 그를 따라간다는 것은 그 길들을 우리가 모르지만 우리는 그 우리 앞에 해당되는 모든 것들을 헤쳐나감으로써 우리가 모든 것을 알아나가는 그런 즐거움을 가지는 것이다.
그래서 모험이군요.
네, 그래서 joyous adventure라고 표현도 아주 멋지게 했다.
그러게요.
Good impression. Wow.
문학가시네.
Good express and good impression for
He
us.
was a good
Wow. Good right,
Yeah.
especially spiritual. Good
Yes, but
right.
it's very
Yeah.
heartfelt. He felt it, you know, in his heart.
오. 참 이런 얘기는 선교사 가족들이니까 또 이걸 갖고 있고 이런 귀한 얘기를
그렇게.
신문에서 뭐 오늘 굉장히 감동스럽고 싶다. 오늘
제가
바로 특진하는 거 아이가?
Now you can write a
아,
book.
뭉클하네.
네.
세상에.
Let's see, I'll give you one.
I joked
piece.
him
Uh-huh.
through this report he will be promoted abruptly.
This is for your church.
예.
This is from letters to with his letters to his children. I copied these
오케이.
out
예.
from 1918, 1921.
그럼 기사가 너무 많을 것 같은데. 조정해야 될 것 같다.
이거 두 가지만 좀 카피할 수 있을까요?
카피를 여기에 좀
He wrote, so he typed these to his children who were in America. He was.
요거까지 같이 해도 될 것 같다. 요거 같이 카피.
아니 근데 그게 아니라 지금 뭐 여기 드릴 건가요?
제가 좀 필요해가지고.
필요해.
그러면-
가져가서 좀 읽으면 좋을 것
그
같아.
어차피 다 해서 줄 건데 그 세 개만 일단 해놓으시고요.
어.
그러면 저기
이건 다 했지?
예, 다 했죠. 예. Can you give me your note 저기 on question? 그 right. 오케이.
here you
예. 이게 있어요. 아까 이제 1, 2,
we
3
did
이
it.
주제를
아.
주제를 해가지고 지금 우리가 정리해서 할 수 있을 것 같아요. 예. 예. Let's
한국을 얼마나 사랑했는가.
Let's do
그리고
June.
한국이
Let's
모험이라는
do
거 두 번째.
June
그리고
call
성령의 은혜로
letter.
이렇게 하는
Get a chance to read book. Okay.
얘기했으니까.
예. What do you donate? What do you donate and what to make copies or 그 지금
Right.
좀 구분해서 우리가
아.
지금 미리 좀
Right.
정리해야 될 것 같아요.
Then Pastor Che wants to be discerned out which will be given to us and which will
Right.
be copied and
Right.
read back.
Right.
It is very important for Pastor.
And for
For
us.
yeah, for us too.
To
make some books.
Very important.
Yeah, very
Yeah.
important for
So we're
us.
giving the photograph out
Ah,
back
for
then.
photo.
I
And then-
have some other photos that,
Yeah.
that you can copy, but we're giving you that.
Yeah, this one.
Now this is for copying.
To copy.
Uh-huh.
Mm.
You can write those little,
And then this is a
Yeah.
book.
and
This
that
will be
if you're
copy?
interested, you may copy.
Yeah, this will be copied.
It's the only one I have of that.
Yeah.
Um,
And there
now
are
this
some.
is an original. You may
original?
have this.
Oh, original.
Yes.
We
And
may have.
where is that little book? The
Little
little
book.
The little.
Yeah, little book. Here.
Yes, and that's very fragile. You may have that.
Oh, maybe have.
But I made, I copied that at home, and
Pastor,
I
here's your
thought
copies.
you may copy these because if you try to copy the book, you may break it.
Ah, sure.
So
sure.
I copied it myself.
Mm,
And
mm,
the first page,
mm.
right
This
here,
is the first page.
so funny. He says,
Mm.
the steward on board the steamer asked where he was going. He said, "What? To sink your life in that God-forsaken mud hole?" He
What?
called Korea a God-forsaken mud hole.
Mad hole.
뭐든데 이게
뭐도 hole?
What's the mean?
진흙구덩이
It's an
진흙구덩이 같은데 왔다 이 말이야.
Mud hole is it's just mud.
아.
진흙구덩이 같은데 왔다 이 말이야. 진흙구덩이 mud hole.
구덩이 아니야.
Yeah,
그럼-
that's a correct.
But he answered back.
That's
Mud
how it
hole.
was
Said-
back
Yeah,
then?
at that time.
Not now.
Not now, yeah. We are really prospered.
Yeah.
But at that time, really dirty and smelling,
Anyway,
stinky. Oh, really mud hole.
He had to land in Japan because the steamer did not know where Korea was.
아.
But
야, mud hole
James
맞을 거야.
Edward Adams thought this was not.
Yeah.
He was bringing God to this country. It was not a mud hole. So I want you to make copies.
역사관에 내려가서
아,
여기서
예.
오늘
가면서
같이?
이제 사진
Oh,
한번
it's
같이 한번
진짜.
찍죠.
Hello.
He's
you're here.
hello.
Hello.
예.
예전에
So-
한 번 받긴 했는데
Yeah.
한 번도 가져가지.
예, 가져가시면 돼요.
So you keep this, but I'd like you to copy this and give these back. So because if you copy this, you may break it. But of course you can carefully read it. It's yours.
아, sure, sure.
So I made this copies for our family,
Yeah.
but you may copy them.
Then is this hold copies of this book?
Yes,
That's
it's 30
good.
pages.
Yeah.
Yeah. But when I bent it back,
Yeah.
I almost broke it.
Then this will be shown at this church for many Christians who are curious about the earlier stages of books and the missionary activities. Then this will be shown many times to many people.
Because I think this was printed.
Oh,
Here.
this
This was
copied
printed
very well.
there.
Oh,
Where was it printed? Japan, maybe?
oh, Japan. Yeah, Yokohama.
So it was printed in Japan for Korea.
Long way to find a printing press back then.
Yeah.
Until
Oh.
William Baird got one.
Reverend Mrs. J.E. Adams commissioned 1895.
예.
That's
우리
good.
지금 이제
Okay, and these are
예.
three more things for you.
우리
This is an article he wrote in America
코리안
for
미션
the American.
예.
American.
한국
So that's for you.
선교의 어떤 분야에 대한 리포트인데 지금 이걸로 다 넣으면은 일단 소화가 안 되기 때문에 일단 예. The interview went well. Yeah. I'm hungry. You're hungry.
The end.
Lunch time. Yeah. 그러면
Yeah, I think
thank you. Yeah, shall we?
Pastor Che
Yes.
would like to have another time at the time to discern out what
Okay.
will be copied or what will be
Right.
given. Then it will be arranged next time
Right.
within this week.
Yes.
이거는
Yes.
뒤에 이제 저희가 뭐 조금 시간을 두고 이거 좀 분류해서
그래 방금 얘기했어.
일단 하도록 하고요. 중요한 거는 이제
식사로 가는.
네, 식사로 가는데 그 전에 지금 민석 이거 내일 통역하고 좀 나눠야 될 내용이 뭐죠?
예.
뭐
그러면은
네.
나 이제 그 부분만을 좀 나누고 가야 되니까 뭐 목사님 일단 그러면 전시실 앞에
사진
다른
한번
분들은 뭐 가서 계시면 될 것 같고.